The setting of Warhammer 40,000 is one of the biggest universes in all of sci-fi. And the number one question in all of my comment sections is, where do I begin reading about this? With over 600 books, novellas, short stories, White Dwarf entries, it is very hard to know where to start, what's relevant, and what's good. So, this is going to be my definitive guide to where to start reading in the Warhammer universe. So let's break it down.
There is no peace amongst the stars, for in the grim, dark future, there is only war.
Before we begin, I want us to collectively let the pressure and anxiety of so many books and so much lore off of ourselves. There is no one order to reading these books, and you definitely don't have to read them all. This list is for people brand new to the Warhammer universe who are trying to dip their toes into some of the stories and some of the lore. You don't even have to read them in the order that I'm going to present them in. But if you want to strike out on your own and you don't want to listen to me, I do have a piece of advice for you. And this can apply to anybody trying to learn anything about Warhammer. Pick a faction or event that you think is the coolest and want to actually learn about. Find a book that is about that faction or event and then read it. The excuse I hear the most about why people have dropped Warhammer or are no longer interested in it is because they were reading something that they weren't interested in. If the way I got interested in Warhammer was through the Titans, these giant walking god machines, and I'm reading a book about the Eldar, of course I'm going to get bored. It's not matching my expectations. So find something you are solidly interested in and go from there. A second piece of advice I have for you is definitely do some primer. Go watch some of Luton's videos, go read some of the Lexicanum, which is a wiki page for Warhammer. Maybe go and watch some of my TikToks. But one of the most frustrating things about Warhammer books is a lot of the times they will just jump in assuming you have a lot of background already. Now, this list I'm about to give you is definitely beginner friendly, and it's for people who are just dipping their toes in the Warhammer universe. But a little preparation and a little background definitely help. On this list, I'm going to break down the books I'm recommending into 4 categories. Hopefully this will help focus you into an area where you want to start. So this first part of the list is for people who are committed to getting into the Warhammer universe. Maybe you're getting into the tabletop and have bought some minis and want to learn more about the army that you've created. Maybe you are like me and are getting bored of the lore and the fandom that you're currently a part of. Maybe you've heard about the Amazon Warhammer show and want to jump on the train before everybody else. So for those people, I have 3 books to recommend you. And that would be the first 3 books of the Horus Heresy series. Those being Horus Rising, False Gods, and Galaxy in Flames. These novels start out a 54-book series, not including the Siege of Terra novels, about the Horus Heresy. This is the biggest pivotal moment in all of Imperial history and really shapes the universe going forward. The first 3 books are all tied together and are essentially 3 parts of one novel. After the first 3, it starts branching out to different characters and different legions, but this is the place to start. It requires maybe watching a 5-minute video explaining what Space Marines are or explaining who the Emperor is. I say this is for committed people because once you started down the path and have read these 3 books, the completionist in you is either going to kick in or you're going to drop it forever. 54 books is a lot to get through, believe me. There are a lot of anthologies in this series, and unfortunately, these short stories will contain important people or events that are introduced that are then brought back up in the full novels. So although you can skip around, you might end up lost somewhere. The next part of our list is for people who are maybe familiar with Warhammer and are getting back into it and want to get caught up on the current lore. And I have 4 books for you all that I think are great starting places. The first one is going to be Indomitus by Gav Thorpe. It follows a group of Ultramarines during the Indomitus Crusade who are fighting against Necron expansion. The Indomitus Crusade is ongoing in the current lore, so what better place to begin? This is a standalone novel. It's a relatively easy read and only comes in at about 368 pages, but it is a great re-entry point into Warhammer 40,000. Next is Cadia Stands by Justin D. Hill. I know a lot of people are Imperial Guard fans and a lot of people are Cadia fans in particular, and this is a great place to learn about this people and this world before it's shattered. It also is a lead up to the expansion of the Great Rift, so it's a great piece of background for something that is important going on in the universe. Next is a Hell's Reach novel by Aaron Dembski Bowden. This is one of those classic pieces of Warhammer lore. It follows the Third War of Armageddon in the Reclusiarch Grimaldus of the Black Templars. It is extremely well written, has amazing characters, and usually on YouTube you can find the Hell's Reach movie, which is an animation using the narration from the Hell's Reach novel audiobook. It is the quintessential Warhammer 40,000 experience. It has great Space Marine combat and characters who you actually connect with. And last, we have The Avenging Sun, which is the first book in the Dawn of Fire novel series. This series starts out with Robute Gilliman, the returned Primarch, getting back to Terra and planning and executing the Indomitus Crusade. Not to spoil anything in this book, but it contains a lot of very important moments that will reverberate throughout the galaxy. Now, not every book in this series is a winner, but they do all connect in some way, and I'm looking forward to see how they end it. Our third part of the list is for people who want something a little bit more relatable. Maybe you're an Imperial Guard fan through and through. Maybe you are tired of seeing Space Marines on the cover of everything. First would be the Caiaphas Cain novels, specifically the first one, For the Emperor. Caiaphas Cain is a commissar who, through luck, spurts of genius, and sometimes cowardice, becomes a hero of the Imperium. These books are a little bit more lighthearted than other books in the lore, and Caiaphas Cain himself is just such a likable character. A Caiaphas Cain omnibus recently got published, so if you wanted to get a majority of the books in one, there you go. Next is the first Gaunt's Ghost novel, First and Only. This series follows Colonel Commissar Ibram Gaunt and his ghost from the Tanith First and Only. If you wanted a book about the Astra Militarum, this is the one. Ibram Gaunt is such a cool character and is up there in my mind with Commissar Yarrick. I haven't finished the series yet, but every single book I've read I've enjoyed. And last is everyone's favorite boy, Eisenhorn. These books follow Inquisitor Gregor Eisenhorn on his mission to defend the Imperium. The first three books all fall under a purview of one of the main ordos of the Inquisition, Xenos, Malleus, and Hereticus. There are a lot of rumors also that the Amazon show will be an Eisenhorn show. So another great entry point that doesn't focus on Space Marines. Now let's talk about the books that I think are underrated and are often left off of these beginner book lists. And the first one is Titanicus by Dan Abnett. If you're a Gundam fan, if you're an Evangelion fan, this book is for you. The premise is a Forge world is attacked by Chaos Titans, who we very rarely get a lot of good descriptions and focus on. And the Titans of Legio Invicta have to defend this Forge world against them. It's a very easy book to get into and also gives you a great view of one of the more important parts of the Adeptus Mechanicus. And the second book on this underrated list would be Firecast by Peter Ferivari. This follows an Imperial Guard regiment that's been thrown out of war zone that has been active for 50 years against the Tau expansion. They fight in jungles that would make Vietnam look like paradise, and not only have to contend with nature and the Tau, but also themselves. There are a lot of good twists and turns in this book. I would highly recommend it. Our last section here is different. It's books that I don't think you should read. These books often appear on other beginner book lists, and I just do not agree. Don't get me wrong, these are good books, some of the best actually, but they require a lot of background in order to fully understand what's happening in the book, or to understand some of the jokes or references, etc. The first one I see recommended all the time is the Night Lords Omnibus. Don't get me wrong, this is a very good set of books, and I even got it myself as one of my first Warhammer books. But if you've read about the Night Lords before this and know exactly what's happened to their legion over the past 10,000 years, it makes everything in these books so much more impactful. You get to see the brutality and planning of Chaos Legions, but it's through the lens of one of the more boring legions, in my opinion. The Night Lords have a lot of cool characters individually, but as a whole, they just do not do it for me. The second one on this list might be a surprise to some people, but it is The Infinite and the Divine by Robert Rath. This to me is a must-read for any Warhammer fan. But as far as being an intro book, I think there are better ones. It is very funny and the dialogue is immaculate, but there are so many references to things that you would need background on before to even get. On top of that, the way Necrons talk to each other and how they think can be very confusing to someone who's not familiar with it. Maybe do a little primer on the War in Heaven, maybe read a little bit about Necron society, and then read this book. That is going to be the end of our list. If that's all you were looking for, you can cut out now. But before we go, let's talk about how and where to get these books. I'm not sure what the reason is, and maybe it's because Warhammer is a smaller sci-fi niche, but it is very hard to find a lot of these books. Even books that have come out in the past 4 or 5 years are very hard to find or expensive when you do find them. So if one of the books on this list or one that you're just looking for in general is out of stock, here's what you can do. First, you can go to the Games Workshop site and see if the book is actually listed on there. If it's out of stock, you can sign up to be notified when it's back in stock. A second option could be to go to your local game store. My game store generally has a large variety of books there, and a lot of them are out of stock online. You can also ask the store manager if he knows of any shipments coming in of books that you may want. Online, sometimes Amazon will randomly pop up with a stocking of some of these books. I randomly got Sons of the Selenar off of Amazon when it just popped up one day. Also online, I would check sites like Thrift Books. They'll have a lot of the out-of-print books, but they will vary in condition. You could also check eBay, but a lot of those people have jacked up the prices in order to make some money. I'm still looking for a copy of Fury of Magnus, and I cannot find one below $150. One option I don't see people talk about a lot is going to your local used bookstore like Half Price Books. I got the Grey Knights Omnibus and the Emperor's Gift both at Half Price Books for about retail price. If you go and look for those books now, they are probably worth $100 each, if not more. And they're almost in perfect condition. I got very lucky with these. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have a friend who's also trying to get into Warhammer and trying to read some of the books, send them this video. And comment below what your favorite Warhammer book is. Leave a like, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you all in the next one.